Welcome back, Combat Coffee Club, 786 Sports. We're back once again after another. I always say it's another exciting UFC card, but I feel like this weekend was definitely one of the most exciting cards leading up, during, after. It had like all the ingredients of a UFC card that we would see back in the day, 2009, 2008. Like just the hype of this card from the build up from Hamza Shemaya and Sean Strickland was one of those like pure grudge matches, at least in the beginning and before the fight. It was just a real exciting card overall from top to bottom. I think the main card like delivered, like every fight had something different, something exciting. So let's break it down, talk about what this means for the UFC, what this means for the division, and then also get into this weekend's first ever Netflix MMA card. But yeah, Sean Strickland pulled off an upset for sure in the eyes of the bettors and the fans. I think for me, we were talking about it earlier. I had a five fight parlay going on this one, so I think that's why I was grabbing my pillow the entire card watching this. But Shemaya was supposed to be the sure bet, the sure lock in. We thought we were going to see him control Strickland for 5 rounds like he did Dricus du Plessis. But that was not the case. Strickland used his game plan that everyone kept saying, if he could just get past the first 2 rounds, we'll see Hamza get a little tired, start to fade out, and then that's when he'll put it on him. That's exactly what happened, but we didn't think it'd be in the second round. He looked gassed. The weight cut, everyone's saying, definitely had a lot to do with it. He was planning on bulking up and going up to 205, but that wasn't really confirmed. But either way, I mean, I think you see it the day before, he was just drained from that weight cut. Supposedly, he had to cut like 20 pounds those couple last days right before the fight. So, doesn't matter how good a shape you are in. If you have to cut 20 pounds and you're dehydrated, that's a tough weight cut to get into a fight the next day and go 5 rounds. But yeah, like I said, I had that parlay, and we started it from the beginning of the card all the way to the end. We had Bobby Green versus Jeremy Stephens. Was a fun fight. The OGs of the sport, been in it for almost 20 years. Bobby Green looked like he's a top contender, even though he has, an unorthodox style, but they went back and forth, and Bobby Green was able to get it done. We saw Sean Brady in the welterweight division completely dominate Joaquin Buckley. That one was fun because it was just a nice display of jiu-jitsu through the whole 3 rounds. So that had that aspect of just, we saw Joaquin Buckley training with Kamaru Usman. You thought maybe, he was going to improve his ground game, but Sean Brady kind of proved once again why he's one of the top contenders in the welterweight. After that one, I forgot what the next one was. Oh, Volkov versus the Dominican. He's the only Dominican fighter in the UFC, which is crazy. But that was a fun fight because it's heavyweight, and at any point, Volkov could have got clipped because he was swinging super, super for the fences. But Volkov just stuck to his game plan, chopped the legs, and was able to get him out of there. And then the co-main was one of my favorite fights of the year. Joshua Vance put on a show. I mean, so did Tyro. His name is slipping. It's hard to pronounce his name. What is it? I want to make sure I get it right. Tyro Turisawa, or the other way?
I'm looking it up to make sure.
But yeah, they both put on a show. But Joshua Vance showed why he deserves to be the champion. A lot of people were questioning the way he won the belt against Pantoja, but his takedown defense, his boxing looked like one of the best boxers in the UFC. He kind of put his whole game together, and I think it worked out the way that it did because we didn't get to really see him fight Pantoja because of the injury. But now that rematch, that fight, the next time they meet is going to be even bigger because people now know he's the real deal, and he's able to stop takedowns. He's able to be on the ground. He's able to piece him up on the floor. It was a back and forth, and We even saw him almost submit Tyro, or how did you get it?
Tatsuro Taira.
Tatsuro Taira. There we go. That's a tough one. Yeah, but Tatsuro Taira is a tough motherfucker, man. That guy was getting bloodied up. It looked like Joshua Van was gonna take him out with a rear naked choke, and he stuck it out. He fought it out, and he made it to the next round. But Joshua Van's stand up was just too much, and they ended the fight there. But that was one of my favorite fights. It was just those small guys, just they have no quit, man. Those 125 pounders they're so fast, they're so durable, and like none of them really get knocked out because they don't have that power in their hands. So they could just go for rounds and rounds. And then we get to the main event, and Sean Strickland, like I said, the tension in that fight, like the security guards all in the octagon, like it just heightened that card. We hadn't seen something like that since Conor and Khabib, where it was just like you don't know what's gonna happen. But the fight played out. I mean, in the first round, it was pure domination by KHAMZAT, which everyone expected. But Strickland kind of just defended himself, survived, and then in the second round, I guess KHAMZAT just had a huge dump, and you could see his takedowns weren't working. He was gassed out. He was on his back, which you never see KHAMZAT on his back, kind of pulling guard. In the third round, he got like a second win. I guess he kind of regained his bearings, and but he's only stood up, which everyone was saying that was very interesting. How he didn't go for one takedown in the third round, but he still kept it competitive. And then it was still a close fight, but Sean Strickland kind of, I think, saw the light at the end of the tunnel in those fourth and fifth rounds, and just he stuck to his game plan, and he pulled it out at the end. I mean, I think you could have gone either way, but I think Strickland showed more damage because KHAMZAT's more of a, when he grapples, he's not trying to put damage on you. He's just trying to submit you and smother you. So it doesn't really cause damage, but it was a close fight. But even the fact that Strickland was able to pull that out, I think the weight cut probably had a lot to do with it. And I think now KHAMZAT's saying like he's not taking any other fight besides that rematch. He's obsessed with it. He needs to get that one back. But I mean, he's a big boy. I don't even know how he used to fight welterweight. He used to get down on 170, which is insane. But 170 to 185 to 205, I feel like he's a 205er natural. That'll probably sit really well with him. But I mean, once you get a loss like that, you kind of want to avenge it. So I get it. But I mean, the kind of, I guess the other thing to take into consideration is that him and Strickland train together. So I think a lot of people are scared of KHAMZAT and have that like, ooh, he's like the boogeyman, or how am I gonna, fight against someone that just has grappling at that level? But I think Strickland kind of had that card in his back pocket of like, I kind of felt him before. I know what he feels like. He's not that scary. And then just getting the confidence in those rounds in the beginning. It's going to be tough for a rematch. I don't think he'd be worried about that.
What did Strickland do for you watching the fight? Like specific things that he was able to shut down that allowed him to get into those deeper rounds? Like he said he followed the plan, but what, in your eyes, what was clearly his plan?
I think to their credit, him and his coach, like the first round, they kind of accepted that KHAMZAT was going to take them down. And that they let it happen almost on purpose. And to their credit, you still have to defend at that point. Like, it's not like it's just survive the round. But KHAMZAT exerted so much energy in that first round, and he thought he was going to probably get him out of there in that first round. So he was able to survive that. And then in the second round, kind of, all right, he's not there. Even though, granted, they're betting that KHAMZAT's cardio isn't there, but they betted correctly. And then just defending the takedown, keep standing up. If you see in the fight, Strickland always goes back to the cage. He makes sure that KHAMZAT's not taking him down in the center of the cage, so it's easier for him to get up. It's harder for KHAMZAT to work when your back's against the cage. But he just kept getting up, and then he has that Philly shell boxing style. So think he just kept peppering him with the jab, and just putting it on him, but not overexerting and trying to go for a knockout. He knew it was going to be 5 rounds. So I think his game plan was to make it all the way to the 5th round and beat him by decision. And like they stuck to that. They never really kind of drifted from that, other than when he got to the ground. But besides the first round, it's also like once you get taken down in the first round and he's not able to do anything, you're kind of like, okay, it's only gonna get more intense as the fight goes on, because his energy's not there, his cardio's not there, his strength's not there. So it's like, I think once you're able to get past that first round, your confidence just builds up and you're able to like, okay, let me work on my game plan. But I think training with him definitely he had an advantage of like, okay, I know his type of game. I know the type of takedowns, the type of grappling he's going to be trying to impose on me. I just got to make sure I don't make mistakes and I'll be all right.
So it feels to me that there's like a whole lot attached to what you said, everything going on before the fight, like the buildup of the fight. And then I saw something that doesn't really happen where it like they basically in real time squash the beef, it seems like. I saw Ariel Helwani go off on Sean Strickland for like the full turnaround on this, and they're like, "Oh, we're trying to sell a fight," like all of that. Where do you stand on all this? And then I have a question attached to it that is connected to Hokit or Hokum.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah, it's tricky. I think it's all very nuanced. Is like the context of everything. I think there is lines that you might cross trying to sell a fight, but it's a fight game. That's something you're putting yourself out there, or you're taking a risk, or you're offending people. But as far as like kind of taking it back and squashing it, I mean, yeah, like you want to keep that same energy if you guys were really about that. But there's also that thing where you just went through a war with someone, so you can't blame someone for after the fact just having respect for someone. Like, we're human. You know, you literally might feel a way there, and it's different. It's like right now, sitting here, you're trying to sell a fight, you're just talking shit for the sake of it. But when it's in that hide and stay, there's thousands of people, there's a press conference, people are screaming, you want to sell the fight, you're amped up. Maybe he did say one thing, but then you're just going to take it to another level, and then, you know, it gets the best of you, and then whatever the case is, it's like kind of like the roast of that just happened with Kevin Hart this past weekend. Like, that only happens because it's a roast. If you say those jokes, even in a comedy club, it's like, whoa, okay, that's a little much, brother. But I think it's the spirit of the fight game. It's like even though you're crossing the line, it's like, you know, you're crossing the line, but then, and I don't think that happens with everyone. I don't think you do see, like, literally Khabib and Conor after the fight, he beat Conor and he still was not done, and he jumps the octagon. He goes to his teammates like, no, I remember you said that, and it was not squashed at all. But some people are different, and I think a lot of people are saying, kind of putting it on Strickland, like, oh, now you squashed the beef, but it's both of them. They both kind of agreed, okay, we just went through a war, and I think also the fact that people are forgetting that they did once train together. So, like, they did have that bond at one point when they were training, even though it was for a small period of time. It's different than just like, I hate this guy, he hates me, and we're beefing and whatever the case is. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's all part of the fight game. I think there is things that like didn't need to be said, and there's things you could leave out. But if you think, I mean, you also got to look at it when Conor fought Jose Aldo. I mean, that worked to his advantage. He riled him up so much that Jose was very upset and rushed him, and then he got knocked out. But now they're boys. It wasn't right after the fight, but years later, you know, they're friends. They talk to each other. So I think it's people are human. So like after the fight, they felt they had to squash it. Some people don't squash it. Some people squash it years later. I mean,
yeah, I align more with the way it played out and the way it worked out. And I liked what Hamzat said about like any man saying like, hey, because he asked for forgiveness or apologize and all.
Yeah.
Like, any man willing to do that, I'm willing to kind of like meet him halfway, kind of thing. And I thought that was,
Especially with
thought that
someone
was
like
dope.
Sean Strickland. It's not just like someone that's talking shit because that's a gimmick. Like, he really is kind of that controversial figure that likes to just speak his mind. So when he does apologize, it's like he's not just doing it for show. He means it. So it's like even more of like, okay, I can understand. Like, wow.
So that's a perfect segue into the next thing, because I feel like Sean Strickland has taken the way he approaches pre-fights and post-fights and interviews. He's taken it to like a different level that we hadn't seen before in a while. And that's since seemingly been replaced by what I saw in like the pressers from Hokit this last week, where it was just like, it was taken to a full kind of other stratosphere, like borderline absurdity. And it's funny. It puts the Strickland into like, okay, well, it's not as bad. Like, this is worse, like that kind of thing. What
the thing is that,
did you see it?
Yeah, of course. The thing is that Sean Strickland is just being himself, so it doesn't come off as like a character or a gimmick. I think that's what it is. That like, even though, and that's with everyone. Like, you might not agree with someone, but you could tell that like, oh, he's like really sticking to his guns about this, and every chance he gets, he's not like forcing it. He's just talking how he would talk with his friends. Whereas Hokic is more of like obviously a character, and I think it's more of like it's not even offensive. It's like annoying because it's not really him, and then it's like he's forcing it so much that even the fighters are like, bro, what are you doing? Like, and I think that whole and then you even see Colby Covington already drop his gimmick. He's being more real. He's like, yo, I did it because I had to sell fights. Now I'm not getting fights. It's not even worth it. So I think it's like you have to be, it's like that border line that you walk of being an entertainer and a fighter in WWE and UFC. Is like you got to be really good at it, or if not, it just comes off like gimmicky and cheesy, and people don't really resonate with it. In the beginning, it was fun because it was new, and then when he fought, like he backed it up with his fighting style with his last fight. But then it just gets like, okay, like let's move on to the next thing. So I don't know. I think he's in a weird position where like, unless he keeps like he goes out there and just knocks out Derek Lewis, and then he just keeps building on that. I mean, if you keep winning, it doesn't really matter. But I think there is a line of like character and being real. Is people can suss that out like super quick.
I feel like it needs to come with some degree of charisma. It can't just be like absurd extremity and you just kind of sit out here and like, when the commentary, the main insults at certain points are like, fuck you. Yeah, and I'm like, that openly saying that, like I haven't seen that before, kind of like that, and then that's it. There's no like punchline. There's no
substance. I mean, I saw an interview this week, which is a perfect segue to the card coming up on Netflix this weekend. But like, Nate Diaz is a real one, and he's not trying to be a character. And he said it. He's like, I'm not trying to make an artificial beef with this guy just because we're fighting. He's like, I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna try to knock him out. He's gonna try to knock me out, and that's what it is. But they're even saying that there's something to like being true to that of like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna sit here and make stuff up just because he's fighting. Like, nah, Mike Perry is a violent dude. I'm a violent dude, and this is why I wanted to fight. And even in the main event where it's like you have these two women that haven't fought in 15, 16, 17 years, there is literally no beef there. They've talked of how much they literally are doing this for each other and how amazing it is that they're coming together and they're promoting women's MMA, and it's like the two biggest stars that ever existed. And all they're talking about is how awesome the other one is. But they're being sincere, and then, Ronda's saying, but don't get it twisted. Once the door locks, I'm going to try to rip her arm off. But she's not trying to like, I think that's something that would have been caught instantly if one of them were, because I mean, you have to be honest that they haven't competed in 15 years, so you can't just manufacture a beef and that intensity out of nowhere. It's like she's staying true to what it is. Like, it's a big moment. We don't know how it's gonna go, but they're two women coming together to make a fight that never happened, but now we're getting it 15 years later or however many years later, but there is no beef. So it's like you can't force those things. The audience just knows. Or you have to be really good and like in the WWE, and that's a whole other aspect of it.
What are you excited about coming up here? Like what if you could circle one item on either this card or the next one that you have, like, all right, I'm excited to see that.
For sure, if you ask me the rest of the year, there is some dope cards coming up. I mean, I think this weekend is just interesting because it's different. It's not UFC. So I'm excited to see how that plays out, like the production, like how serious are they taking it? Is it a one and done? Are they going to start trying to give the UFC some real competition? What do these fighters look like after all these years? I think that's more of like the spectacle, and just seeing MMA on Netflix for the first time is like insane. From when you think about even the Paramount deal and going back to Spike TV, like now it's on Netflix. Like that's already crazy. But as far as like what I'm really excited for is Conor McGregor finally signing the line and fighting Max Holloway allegedly in June, hopefully in time for my birthday. I think that's going to be an exciting card just because, I mean, even though he hasn't fought in so many years, it's just the hype of Conor McGregor, the stature, the eyeballs that he brings. And then also, I mean, it is an interesting matchup, even though I'm always been a big believer, not of ring rust, but of if you're just not in the game, if your head's not in the game, especially fighting, there is a certain, like, you're not, and this is with everything. Like, it could be basketball, it could be fighting, it could be graphic designing. It's like if you're not doing the thing constantly, you do have a step that you're missing because you're just not in that world. But there is outliers that they could just step back in, and that's when they feel the most comfortable.
And stylistically, that fight's interesting because it's like if you like striking, which I lean toward, like I immediately I like this matchup, especially with Holloway on the other side of it. But it's like sometimes when you go into these fights where it's like, well, if this goes this way, this guy's kind of gonna run the fight, But I feel like when you have two guys that are strikers like that, and I know they do other things as well, but like that matchup has me excited because that's like it'll be hard for me to not think Holloway's gonna win, but also like, but maybe.
No,
but maybe
that's literally it. Because if you told me the fight was gonna be at 155 and you have Max that's just coming off these insane fights, even though he got like dominated by Oliveira the last one, he's fought Tapura, he's fought Gaethje, he's fought like all these killers. So I would give him the nod. But then you're telling me this fight's probably gonna be at 170. Conor's always been historically bigger. And now he's coming back. He has had a layoff. Like, how's his leg? Or is it like now reinforced with steel? So like he's gonna maybe even kick even more. We're gonna see the old karate Conor. So it's like a lot of these, like, you never know. And then his power is there. We did see Holloway get knocked out. And also I think people forget that, Conor's a striker, but he did probably have one of the best rounds against Khabib in history of anyone. He stuffed a takedown, and he didn't let him finish in that first round. I mean, that's also not like the best result, obviously, because he lost the fight. But he's not no slouch on the ground. And I mean, you never know. Maybe he wants to come back in and just secure a win. Maybe he tries to take Max Holloway down and secure a win. I don't know. But I think there is still that excitement of like just seeing a Conor McGregor fight and seeing him locked in, and he's been training like crazy. So hopefully they get that done.
That's charisma.
Yeah.
That's like that's the other stuff, the extremes coming with like I don't know, a cinema, a theater, and like a wit and like and anything in that accent's probably funny. But my mind keeps going back to that documentary of him on Netflix that I saw. You seen that one? Where you give this mentality, this person, any amount of time to prepare for something, and to like this much time to, like, he can be super singular about his goal. You know what I mean? And what is he? 38, 37, 38? That's like It's old, but you're still in your.
And he had time
You're
off.
still dangerous, dude.
And he had some time off that probably helped him.
Had time off. Where do you think that that Poirier fight would have landed or would have ended if that didn't happen? Is he still losing?
Nah, I think at that point where he was at, I think he might have still lost, especially where Poirier was at that time. Like, he was just getting into that sweet spot of his prime. Like,
but he didn't like leave the game on like some clear downturn, Conor. You know, like
no. But I mean, his last win was in Madison Square Garden against Eddie Alvarez, though. Yeah. Or no, I'm sorry.
But the UFC's gotten a lot better since then, in my opinion. You know, it's gotten like a lot, like especially that division has gotten like.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, he is going against Max Holloway, first fight was against. I don't know if it was against Conor, but it was when he was 19. So he's definitely not that same 19-year-old. But there also is that like when I think Holloway has fought enough that he's not gonna be even phased by the lights or Conor McGregor, but there is that like, now I'm fighting Conor McGregor, and you know it's that aura and that pressure, and like, you know, I'm sure he feels like he should win, but he did lose even though he was a 19-year-old kid. I mean, that has to be in the back of his mind, but yeah, I think there's just the fact that he's even willing to come back, because he obviously doesn't need to, but he's just a psychopath of like, I need to get a W, I need to fight in the UFC, I need to be a mixed martial artist. And I mean, we've seen him kind of like glimpses of like, oh, he's training, oh, he's locked in, oh, he's back, but then something happens, or he goes off on a side quest, or this happens. But I think the last like 6 to 8 months, he's like really been locked in, and you haven't seen him out, you haven't seen him do his things. Like, I think he had a mental and a physical, like, okay, I need to like recalibrate and get back into this, what he calls the greatest comeback ever.
So I heard a rumor that Ilia Topuria lives in Miami now.
Yeah.
That's funny because our studio's in Miami. And
shout out.
I feel like I would tee up, why should he come on the show? You gotta make a pitch here.
I mean, I was gonna start trying to speak in Spanish, but let me not even embarrass myself. And then
he could come speak in Spanish.
Yeah. I mean, we could do a Spanglish.
Yeah, you talk to him in English, and he responds in Spanish.
I think, I mean, when he said he's gonna be living here for the next foreseeable future, probably a handful of years. I think after the White House card, I mean, he'll be able to relax and really take in and enjoy Miami, and then he could start to, you know, maybe get down with the local creatives, the local talent in Miami, and have a different type of conversation about combat sports and life and his journey, bro. Because, I mean, after the White House, who knows if anyone will be able to talk to him, because that's going to be, I mean, that's another card that we just kind of overlooked real quick.
Glossed by that one.
Yeah, but that one's more exciting because it's at the White House. Like, how are they going to do this? Like, what does that look like? The spectacle of it. The fights are just a plus for me. I'm just like how does that even look? Like, because that's basically, they got to start from scratch, and they're already building that out. But it's also insane that it's in the White House. Like, that still doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, this is our version of like a military parade in other places, you know. But it's it feels a little bit to me like the more recent Avengers movies, where it's like when you put all of them on screen together, they kind of all like not wash together, but when you isolate an individual card, it's more like, okay, like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? This one is like putting the Avengers, in a military parade.
Yeah, no,
literally. But I mean, shit, anytime you could see the guys on that card together in one night, like, and then the spectacle, like the national spectacle of what it's going to be, I think that's...
And how does that affect them? Like,
yeah.
Even though they fought in different countries, different arenas, it's kind of like the UFC is a well-oiled machine where things are always pretty much the same and formulaic to what they do wherever they go. But like the White House is like, you're not getting the locker room, you're not getting, like, you are, but it's like in the Oval Office or whatever. It's, you got the security checks, you have all this stuff. Like, that fight week's gonna be completely different. Probably not all of your team If not, your whole family can go. Maybe some guys always bring everyone, but this time I'm sure it's going to be very limited. So like, I think it is a lot of variables to that card, but I mean, it should be interesting, 100%. But yeah, this Saturday is the Netflix MVP MMA card. Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano, Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry, and Francis Ngannou versus Lin. We will be streaming that live from Casa Cultura 786 Sports, so make sure to tune in. We're out.